What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. In this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with NIO so far in terms of news and data, what you should be watching for as time progresses. Before I begin the devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very, very soon. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15. Anyways, when it comes to NIO is still looking very, very weak. This thing was attempting to break out of this falling wedge, going all the way up to this $5 area. But I told you if we broke past $5, that would be our signal that NIO wants to start pushing higher. But today, NIO unfortunately failed to do so, and it came all the way back down to 4.8. We just got the Chinese deliveries that came out. NIOs were not the strongest, and NIO is looking like it might be a little short to meet its deliveries target. Now we need one more week of strong data. If we get some strong numbers, this could help NIO make a historic comeback. But if we don't get those strong numbers for the final week of March, things are not going to look that good for NIO, in my honest opinion. So with the share price kind of looking like this, I want to break down more factors affecting NIO and which we should be watching for the markets. Let's first talk about some data. Tomorrow is Wednesday, March 27th. We have some crude oil data coming out at 10:30 a.m. It's all very, very minor data, not going to affect the market that much. At 11:30 a.m., we have the 17-week bill auction and also the 2-year FRN auction coming out. Besides that, all the data is very minor for tomorrow. In terms of NIO, I just want to mention that NIO has talked about its German power swap station, which just opened. So I have a new one that just opened. This is their 12th power swap station, in Germany, and that's some good news for them. Moving forward, we want to be watching to see how this kind of grows in European countries. We're starting to see a lot more exposure for the battery swap market, and this is some good news for NIO. But we'll just have to see if they can maintain this growth moving forward. Now, one thing that's a little concerning is the fact that we just got the Chinese sales for the month of March. This is the week ending on March 24th. So this is the penultimate or the second to last week in March for Chinese deliveries that just came out. And NIO only did about 3,000 deliveries, not the strongest, not horrible, but not the strongest either. So you want to be a little bit careful with this data. Let me show you some numbers. So for NIO, you can see it right here, this is the weekly sales in China. There's a slight increase during the previous week, but the question is, are they going to meet their target? Going down, you have to remember that NIO is telling us that they're going to be giving us about 31 to 33,000 vehicles for its fourth quarter deliveries. And if you look at the numbers so far, they did about 10,000 in January, 8,000 in February. And so far, we have about 12,800 to about 14,800 in March. That's what's needed so far, at least for their deliveries, for them to meet that target. As of right now, we're not doing that great so far. We're still a little bit short of that target. We want to get closer to about 12,800, so we need a very, very strong final week in March. Otherwise, it's not going to be that great for NIO. We need them to sell thousands, well over 4 or 5,000 for the final week to get to that target. If they come short, it's not going to be the best of news for them. So we'll just have to see how NIO does. Moving forward with NIO, I also want to call out that for them to get some very, very strong numbers, they have to find more incentives to get more growth for the final week. Otherwise, they're going to miss on their deliveries target, and that's not going to be the best of sign for shareholders. Some analysts are saying that NIO only has about 12% upside right now. There's a whole kind of cut their price target on NIO, despite the fact that they had some bullish remarks in the past. They're saying that right now, the EV market's in a very, very bad state, and NIO can only go to about $5.50 for the next 12 months. That's what their price target is. They're warning us that there is risk of downside for NIO. Talk about how the numbers may not look the best. There's been a lot of talk about other things like that, so you want to be very careful with this coming out. Despite having a decent 2023, they're saying that 2024 has been very difficult for NIO, and they give NIO a downgrade. There's a whole downgraded NIO from a buy to a neutral rating. And in terms of seasonality, 11 a.m. is when we tend to be more volatile and also during the final hour of the day. We tend to be green about 55% of the time on Wednesdays, but right now, going into the coming Wednesday, we have to be careful looking at some technicals. And on top of all of this, there's not really much else changing from here. I also want to add that volume was at about 83 million, average volume was about 56 million. So we're getting a little bit more volume, high volume selling, and we just closed below the 4.8 support. So that's a very bad sign for me, in my honest opinion. So what do I see for the share price? Honestly, guys, it tried to break out and it failed. Now it's just continuing to sink. I'd say that NIO is looking more bearish right here. We're barely holding 4.8, and this thing has more downside potential, in my honest opinion. And if you look at more technical indicators out there, give me 1 second. Looking at them, things are also not looking as great for them because When you zoom out, especially on our 4-hour time frame, I'm seeing a lot of weakness on the charts. You could see that it was trying to rebound, and the 4 hour is showing a lot of weakness as this is going to likely start to contract. It was trying to form a bullish divergence, but we're not getting that move up. You have to try to hold $5. We haven't done so yet. So there's a risk of this coming all the way down to previous levels. You'd be looking for a move down to about 4.75. If we lose that 4.5, it's going to be our next target. Not the best of news for NIO. It's very unfortunate, very sad, but there's a lot of bad news coming out, and NIO has more downside potential, in my opinion, because of that. Now, moving forward for a couple of other tickers out there, I just want to mention that other stocks that are also showing some similar trends. If we take a look at SPY, this was in a very, very interesting place. SPY is basically trading sideways today. Then we saw this big drop back within our channel. So now we're going to see a very, very big test tomorrow. We have this very critical white line right here. This white line was our previous support. You guys can see right here, we bounced off this 2 times. So if SPY bounces off of this, it could try to rebound. If we fail, it's not going to look good. So I'm going to be watching this big test tomorrow at this 518 area. If we lose 518, a big drop is going to be coming. SPY could be dropping to 515 or so. If we hold this, we could look for a rebound and a break of this neutral flag. But I just want to say that SPY is showing some weakness. It was shopping for almost all day today. Then at the very last hour, we got this dump. So it's very, very tricky. Lots of manipulation. It was just trading sideways for the entire day. And at the very end, they dumped it. So there's a lot of manipulation. So you want to be very, very careful. We'll have to see what it does. On the 4-hour time frame, let me just call out that SPY is showing weakness on the 4-hour. There's a risk of this coming down, so just be very, very careful. That's going to be a very important warning. Tesla's also looking kind of weak to me because of the fact that this thing was trying to push up higher to 184, but a big rejection. And then when you look at the daily looks really bearish. So if you look at Tesla like this, just look at that daily candlestick. It basically opened here, pumped, dumped, came back down. This looks like it's going to fall all the way back down to 172. Tesla's looking like it's going to get a big rejection from here on the daily time frame. The 4-hour time frame is showing a little bit of contraction. It hasn't gotten an official break yet. I do see a risk of that happening, kind of like a pop and drop like move. We're going to drop down to fill this gap all the way down to the 173 area. There's a very, very high risk of that potentially playing out. And when looking at the hourly, Tesla's also showing some weakness. Failed to get much of a bounce. Could rebound a bit and then continue lower. I do see a test of this coming, so just be careful on Tesla. Nvda, instead of holding its support, this thing actually lost support right here, and we have this big gap over here. So I'm seeing a a risk of Nvidia coming down lower. Could rebound a little bit, then continue to sink. The chart is looking very distributive. I'd be very careful with this chart now. It has lost this key support. This means that Nvidia could sink lower, and this could slow things down for the QQQ and the others. QQQ is trying to hold up, and now it's showing some weakness. It was trying to get a breakout, had an inverse head and shoulders like structure. Now it kind of failed right there. So we're going to be watching to see how well it holds 444. If we lose this, we can be coming down to 442. I'm seeing some weakness in the market. Apple was trying to hold up. It actually has been sinking even lower again. Closing below 170, there's a risk of coming down to 168 to 167, 169, excuse me. So I'm seeing weakness in the markets, and this could actually slow things down for NIO. So we'll have to see how NIO does. Unfortunately, NIO got a weak close. Might just consolidate around the 4.8 area, but I do see a risk of it retesting 4.75. I'm seeing some weakness in this chart as it's downtrending, so just be very, very careful, everyone. All right, thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow. Unfortunately, NIO has some weakness. I'm still a big believer in the long term of this company, but the short term is still not looking that great. I want to be honest, guys, so that's what my assessment is. Have a great day, and peace.